What's going on, everybody? It's me again, and I'm gonna try and keep this vlog a little bit shorter. Although a lot of you guys have been saying that you don't mind the long vlogs, and I appreciate that. And I'm actually a little surprised that you guys enjoy watching me ramble on for like half an hour sometimes. But anyway, let me just get to the point real quick. Ever since I posted the that video, "What is Love," on my main channel, followed by the "When AJ Met Suzy" video on this channel, I've been getting a lot of people asking me questions like, "How did you know that you were in love with Suzy?" and "How does one know when they've fallen in love?" and "How do you determine love from infatuation?" Stuff like that kind of thing. And those are all very great questions, ones that I had prior to finally knowing what love was to me anyway. And I always had that question too, like, whenever I felt that kind of that weird feeling that you get, those butterflies that you get whenever you're with that person that you really care about. I would go to some of my older cousins for advice, or just people who have been in long relationships, and I would ask them, yeah, how did you know that you were in love? Like, what was the deciding factor that made you realize that this was the person that you wanted to you know pursue a long-term relationship with? And people would always tell me the same thing. It's like, oh, it's just a feeling. You just feel it deep within your core, deep within yourself. And hearing that as a person who never really experienced love at that time, it was kind of like I didn't really understand. I mean, like I wanted something less abstract and something more, concrete, something like where I could actually understand. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't really understand the feeling, and I guess like in a sense, like they are right. I mean, it is definitely a feeling that you get. It's like a feeling like no other, right? Like, I mean, when you meet that person that you're in love with, they make you feel different, and it's a feeling that you, if it's something that you're feeling for the first time, then it's definitely something like real. It's something genuine. You know what I mean? And because I mean, girls, they come and go, same way guys come and go and everything like that. But you'll meet that one person who will kind of just make you, make you feel different, make you feel special, kind of thing. And yeah, so in a sense they were right, but like I said, I wanted something a little bit more. Sorry, my nose itched, but I wanted something a little bit more concrete. And so over time, like I obviously, I met Suzy, and I started getting that feeling. But once I got that feeling, I was able to kind of determine, you know, what love really was, because I dated a lot of girls in my lifetime. Not to be not to sound narcissistic or anything like that, but the reason why I dated so many girls is because, well, for one, I was kind of, I fell into my player stage because I grew up very shy, and then when girls started giving me attention, I kind of you know I kind of I got a little crazy, and I got a little too excited and too full of myself, and I kind of just went from girl to girl, and like I got bored very easily. Like I would date one girl, and fool around, do whatever, and then after that I'd kind of just get bored because I'm just like, okay, well, there's nothing really in here for me, and you know I kind of want to see what else is out there. And that's kind of what a lot of guys tend to go through. They go through these periods where they're finally getting the attention, or they're finally getting the confidence to go and talk to women, and whatever the case may be, and they get into these situations where they just hop from girl to girl. And I mean, it's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you do hurt a lot of feelings, but you know you as a guy, you're getting a feel for what you want, and as the girl, yeah, it hurts, but at the end of the day, it kind of makes her a stronger person, because it builds the skills necessary for her to really evaluate what it is that she wants in a relationship, and kind of stuff that she now needs to steer clear of. Like if she's seeing a particular pattern in a guy where he's kind of like he's in his player stage and he's like approaching her the same way that old dude left, you know, then at least she's able to determine when she's getting played. So in a sense, it kind of works out. It kind of balances each other out. So you know, when you hear guys complain about girls being this and girls being that, and then girls complaining about guys being this and guys being that, it's all kind of bullshit in a sense, because it's like you both are learning from it, and it's something that needs to be, you know, developed, and it's something that you need to learn. You know, it's all a part of life. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic here. But anyway, so then I finally met Suzy, and it was different. I didn't feel the need to run astray, and I didn't feel bored. I didn't feel that like, oh, like, I mean, you know, we shared a sexual connection, and after that I didn't feel how I usually felt, where I was kind of like, okay, well, I got what I want, so I'm a bounce, you know. It wasn't like that. It was kind of like there's something more here that I need. There's something more that I need from her. I need to be here right now, and obviously it wasn't for it, like it wasn't meant to be long term, but it was definitely something that I needed to learn. I needed to learn a life lesson of some sort. But that's not what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, oh yeah, she needs to teach me something, kind of thing. But I knew that there was something there that was drawn. I was just drawn to her. You know what I mean? And part of what that was is she made me want to become a better person. You know what I mean? And like no one has really ever made me feel that way at that time. You know what I mean? And I mean, I felt that way a few times after Suzy, but Suzy was the first who actually made me want to become a better person. She inspired me to do things, and you know, broaden my horizons, and tap into potential that I didn't even know that I ever had. I mean, when I think back at it, and I'm just like, if it wasn't for Suzy, I wouldn't be doing YouTube videos, you know what I mean? Which is something that I love doing. Mind you, I had to endure a breakup for me to tap into that potential, but she played a big part in just the initial stages, because, you know, I was inspired, you know what I mean? And like she saw potential in me. She saw that I was funny, and she taught me to like break out of my comfort zone, and like break out of my shell, and just like, you know, I don't have to be this shy, timid guy who's so reserved all the time and afraid to express himself and whatnot. Like I was just, you know, it was just, she just gave me that push that I needed, and she made me want to become a better person. You know what I mean? Like you sometimes have people in your life who are troublemakers, who are a bad influence on you, and just by association, you know, you might have been brought up in a strong upbringing and, you know, well mannered and whatnot, but you know, surrounding yourself with negative people like that can ultimately lead you to have malicious intentions or thoughts, or whatever the case may be. But the same also applies to people who are positive and ambitious and stuff like that. And you know, Suzy was definitely ambitious, and yeah, I mean, I learned so much from her just by, like, you know, even in terms of like dressing. I mean, like back in the day, I didn't really have much of a sense of style or anything like that, and she kind of was just like, she convinced me. She's like, yeah, you don't always have to wear baggy clothes. I mean, like you have a pretty nice body. You can, you know, wear fitted clothes and whatnot and stuff like that, and made me comfortable wearing, like, you know, like more fitted clothes, because you know, back in the day, you know how guys wear the, you ain't wearing that fitted shit for homos, man. You know what I mean? But like now it's kind of just like, now you hardly catch me wearing any baggy shit nowadays. But yeah, man, it was just things like that, and she had such nurturing characteristics. I mean, I remember there was times when like she would always fucking bug me, like, about taking my vitamins, like, you know what I mean? Because like I remember at one point I was low on energy all the time. I was always just like really tired, and I didn't know why. And it was because I was lacking, like I wasn't taking enough vitamins or anything like that. And she would always stress me. She'd always be like, yo, you need to take your vitamins. She'd call me in the morning or text me or whatever and just be like, yeah, have you taken your vitamins? And at the time, I was always like, oh my goodness, like, why is she fucking calling me all this time, man? And like, I'm just like, it's my body. Like, why the hell do you care so much about, and I get frustrated, right? Like, I'd get really irritated every time she asked me. Because she'd get mad if I didn't take my vitamins. Like, seriously pissed off. Like, just like, why the hell do you care? Like, why are you acting like that? And I realized that it was just, because she loved me, right? And, like, I was just like, it's crazy because it's like, ever since then, those are the kind of things that I look for in a chick, right? And, the girl that I was dating before that, prior, like a while back, right? She had the same, it was the same thing. I remember I was passed out drunk one time. I was drinking on an empty stomach, which you should never do. Never do that shit because it will, oh man, it's bad. For some of you guys who know what I'm talking about, it is bad. But anyway, yeah, I was trapped in my. I think I told you guys the story anyway, but I'll tell it real quickly. I was drinking on an empty stomach, and then I started feeling really sick, and I was pretty much passed out in my boy's bathroom, and this girl who I was dating at the time broke into the bathroom, like, because it was locked, and she broke in and saw me passed out on the floor and stayed with me even though she had work or she had school early in the morning the next day, and she stayed with me and took care of me while I threw up in the toilet as well as on all over her. And yeah, man, she took care of me. She, like, she was rubbing my back, she got me water and everything like that, and she just stayed with me and just held me, and I felt so weak and so vulnerable, yet here this girl is, a girl who cared about me, was just comforting me and like trying to aid me back to health. And at the end of the night, she took a napkin and she wrote a message on a napkin, and basically it was just saying, like, I had a really good time, and I hope you feel better, and stuff like that. And she snuck it in my pocket, and then she sent me a text telling me to read it when I woke up, and I read it, and it's like this little things like that. It's kind of like, you know how girls always like that, the subtle stuff, you know what I mean? But like, guys, like when they're younger, they don't appreciate the subtle stuff. But as you get older and you start thinking more long term, in terms of like marriage and like a person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, and you acknowledge those kind of simplistic stuff. It's so simple. Like, she wrote on a napkin, but it speaks of such volumes. You know what I mean? Because it's like, this is a person who took care of you, and like, imagine if you're sick again. You know that, when you're older and you're like you have the flu or something like that, you don't have to, you have someone to kind of like depend on to take care of you. Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what a lot of us guys really want. We want a girl who will kind of nurture us like our mothers used to do. You know what I mean? And as women, I assume that you want a man who will not only profess his love to you, but as well as be a provider, and take care of you and just protect you and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, definitely like a woman who's very nurturing, and a woman who just makes you want to become a better person. I mean, I think that to me is what love is, and it's just someone who kind of complements your lifestyle, doesn't really compromise it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you meet these people, and you meet certain people who are just a burden in your life, or they just bring you down, and there's no benefit from them being in your life. And then there's other people who, and mind you, I mean, let's say for example your life is good, like you're content with the way your life is, but you meet a person who kind of just complements your lifestyle, who kind of just fits the mold perfectly. You know what I mean? There's always, like, you have a good life, but there's always room for an extra person. You know what I mean? And that's that person that you fall in love with, who kind of just fits perfectly into your own little world, and vice versa. And I think that's part of what love really is. And my last point is a person who recognizes your flaws but doesn't judge you based on them. You know, is she or he or she accepts you for who you are, to the point where you don't have to be fake with them. You can be as real as possible, and if you make a mistake, then it's okay. They understand. They understand that you're not perfect, and me, definitely, I'm not perfect. There's a lot of things that I'll be the first to tell you. I mean, I'm not, like, I may give a relationship advice and everything like that, but sometimes I fuck up in relationships all the time. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll lie. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, I'm not saying that like I'll be in a relationship and I'm lying all the time or anything like that, but you know, like sometimes, you know, you make mistakes, and you know, and stuff happens, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, depending on the flaw, I mean, you can't just cheat on a girl and be like, "Yo, sorry, baby, that's a flaw. I hope you can forgive me," kind of thing. It's a little, it's a little different, right? But I mean, if you, I can't really think off the top of my head right now, but you know, certain flaws that you may have that you know are going to be next to impossible to change, or you're working on them, but it's going to be like it's going to be a progression, you know, and nothing kind of happens overnight. Then I just realized it's probably going to be kind of long. But anyway, I'm almost done, I promise. But yeah, there's someone who recognizes your flaws and doesn't really care, doesn't give a shit, you know, because she knows at the end of the day, or he knows at the end of the day, he or she's got issues too, and you know, you've got to, if you got to be willing to accept the person for who they are, and vice versa. They have to accept you for who they are. Did I make sense just now? Anyway, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but yeah, those are kind of that's kind of like what falls under the umbrella of what love is. You know what I mean? I mean, how to determine like love from infatuation? Well, think of it like this: love is there's longevity in love, assuming that you know you found the one that you're supposed to be with and everything, which you'll never really know for sure. Like no one knows what the future holds, right? Like you could find the person that you love, but you're not necessarily destined to be together for the rest of your life. I mean, hence me and Suzy, right? But in terms of infatuation is it's not everlasting. It fades away. Like you in every relationship, there usually is the honeymoon stage, which is from, it usually lasts about 3 months, and after the 3 months, that's where you determine whether or not you know, it's love or infatuation. Because if by the end of the 3 months, and I mean 3 months is kind of just setting the bare minimum. I mean it could be less than that, it could be more than that, but primarily it's the 3 month peak, right? And you know, if at the end of that, if you don't really feel strongly about the person, then you know that, you know, it's just infatuation. And thankfully you kind of just didn't really waste a lot of time, but you know, that's pretty much how you determine that. And you know, that's I had another point, but one is I should probably wrap up right now, and two, I forgot what I was gonna say, so I'm probably just gonna leave it there. Obviously, if you have any more questions, or if you disagree with anything that I've said, feel free to leave a video response or a comment down below in the comment section, and let me know what your thoughts are on what you think love really is. But yeah, obviously, thank you guys for listening. I love you guys, and yeah, man. I'm really bad at closing off with these things, so I'm just gonna end it here by saying, I'm your boy Tactics. Peace.